not impede Donald Trump. Mike, what do you think about those issues? It seems to me, especially this issue of Trump's rallies, it's been a building controversy now for weeks and months. Mark and I have both been to those events, and they have a lot of things to be said about Donald Trump rallies, but there is a kind of aggression at times and a raucousness that is a little unusual and not like anything we've seen covering presidential campaigns for about 25 years. What do you think?
You know, I'm with you, John and Mark, on that score. There is something about his rallies, and Donald Trump's rhetoric emboldens the crowd in front of him. It's not what he says, it's how he says it. It's his demeanor. And I think it emboldens crowds to act as they have sometimes acted in the past. What do we do? Do we have a bit of news on that from Chris? Yeah, Chris, what have you got?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, you can put this in the perspective of, and you guys all remember this, when I think it was at the end of February, and there was somebody who was escorted out, a protester, and he said he would like to punch him. And now you've got, Donald Trump said that, now you've got this fallout from the moment of violence at that Trump campaign event, and it took center stage at that presidential debate last night. But let's go back to where it all began. This is Wednesday's Trump rally, North Carolina. Authorities were escorting 26-year-old Rakeem Jones and 4 others from the event. And then 78-year-old John McGraw walked toward the aisle, you can see it there, and allegedly threw an elbow into Jones' eye and then went back to his seat. McGraw spoke to Inside Edition at the end of that rally.
Did you like the event?
You bet I liked it.
Yeah? What'd you like about it?
Knocking the hell out of that big mouth. We don't know who he is, but we know he's not acting like an American.
So he deserved it?
Every bit of it.
What was that?
Yes, he deserved it. The next time we see him, we might have to kill him.
McGraw went on to say, we don't know who he is. He might be with a terrorist organization. Well, yesterday, McGraw was arrested, and he was charged with assault and disorderly conduct. There was his mugshot. The Trump campaign issued a 7-word statement, quote, "We are not involved in that incident." On MSNBC yesterday, Jones and Ronnie Rouse, who also was being escorted out by police, and he took the video, reacted to what happened.
It didn't seem real. It's like I got hit, and now I'm on the ground getting detained by the police, and then now I actually look at the videos, and I really got hit. They watched it, really. Like, as you can see, I'm being escorted by officers. Like, they're still, after I'm hit, they're still leading me up the stairs.
The guy hits the guy in front of the police, behind the police, on the side of the police, and they throw Rakeem down, and they tell the guy to go sit back down. He finishes eating his popcorn, you know, and it's just, it's crazy that you get pretty much almost arrested because you got assaulted.
And so Trump was asked about this incident during and following last night's debate. Take a listen.
Do you believe that you've done anything to create a tone where this kind of violence would be encouraged?
I hope not. I truly hope not. I will say this. We have 30,000 people. You've seen it yourself. People come with tremendous passion and love for the country. And when they see protests, in some cases, you know, you're mentioning one case, which I haven't seen. I heard about it, which I don't like. But when they see what's going on in this country, they have anger that's unbelievable. They have anger. They love this country. We have some protesters who are bad dudes. They have done bad things. They are swinging. They are really dangerous. And they get in there and they start hitting people. And we had a couple big, strong, powerful guys doing damage to people. Not only the loudness I don't mind, but doing serious damage. And if they're going to be taken out, I be honest, we have to run something. And it's not me. It's usually the municipal government, the police, because I don't have guards all over these stadiums. I mean, we fill up stadiums. It's usually the police. And by the way, speaking of the police, we should pay our respects to the police because they are taking tremendous abuse of this country, and they do a phenomenal job.
I've never seen a protester throw a punch. I have seen your supporters get rough with protesters.
78 years old, and I just got to see a little clip. He threw a punch. I don't know if he hit, but he's a passionate person, and I guess he didn't like what he was seeing, and you know, it's one of those things. But certainly we don't condone it. We don't like it. We don't like seeing it.
You know, Mike Barnicle, one of the things that he says repeatedly is that we don't condone this. You talk to reporters who are in those pens, and you talk to anybody who has been to a rally, and I've seen it, and there are a lot of shout-outs to people. There's negative shout-outs to people in the crowd, negative shout-outs to, by name sometimes, to reporters who are there covering the campaigns, Mike.
Chris, you know, you, along with John and Mark, myself, we've been to several of Trump's rallies, and Mr. Trump is, you know, it's a show. It's a terrific show that he puts on for the people assembled there. But there is an element to the show where he does, I think, embolden people to behave the way we've seen. He says he hopes he doesn't do that, but the reality is that it happens around him. What do you think? Have you been to any rallies?
Look, most people think, and I agree with this, that a lot of Trump's following is based on people who are really angry. Angry about their own circumstances post-recession, about the enormous changes that have taken place in this country. So it's hardly a surprise that with his rhetoric, somebody's going to take out that anger on protesters and others.
Yeah, I mean, once about a month ago, he said, you know, in the old days...
Punch the guy in the face.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're saying we ought to punch the guy in the face, or I'd like to punch the guy in the face for the podium, and his followers are doing this, there is a connection there that's fairly obvious. One thing I have to say is, since you and I are the same vintage, it was ironic that the music in the background was the Rolling Stones, who played at Altamont when the guy was murdered. Did you pick that up?
Yeah, no, I did, but well, that's part of his show. The music at his show is spectacular. John Heilman, Mark, I mean, you've been to the show. The music is spectacular. The crowds get into it. There's a vibe in the air. And sometimes that vibe does extend itself, given Donald's rhetoric, to what happens.
Mike, I just don't think it's enough for him to say, I hope not.
Yeah.
I think yes. You know, Michael Steele, Howard Dean, you guys have been on the ballot. You've had events. I think it's incumbent upon him and his staff to speak with local law enforcement, to speak to Secret Service, to speak to the organizers, his staff, and say, are we doing everything possible to not just say wash our hands of it, but to say we're not going to have violence at our events?
And it's not just that. It's that Donald Trump, as people have cited, there have been events, we've seen them on television, where he said, I'd like to punch that guy in the mouth. In the old days, that guy would be carried out on a stretcher. There are countless examples, and Jake Tapper cited a few of them last night, where Trump has said things that have incited people, or at least created a climate in which a permission for this kind of behavior. If he's going to be a Republican nominee, he's got to stop doing that. And I think there's still these questions, again, about Corey Lewandowski and this woman from Breitbart that need to be answered today. The Washington Post reporter, Ben Terrace, someone's got to get him on television and ask him what he saw. They are attacking that woman. I have no idea what happened there, but they're calling her delusional. They're bringing up incidents from her past. She has bruises on her arms. We have to get to the bottom of what happened at that event over the course of the next 24 hours because, again, this guy is poised to be the Republican nominee, and the stuff that's happening at these events cannot continue if he's going to be the leader of the Republican Party.
And Hillary Clinton spoke out against it on Rachel Maddow last night, so